New York City Mayor Eric Adams addressed the interfaith community and religious leaders at a breakfast Thursday morning. He spoke about finding common ground and actions we can all take to help make the city a safer and more inclusive place. Take a listen to his full speech exclusively here on CBS News New York.
Those who have attended our faith-based gatherings, I'll forgive those who are first time, but those who have been here for a while, you're not forgiven. You know you don't stand for me, I stand for you. You know I stand for you. And I was sitting next to Pastor Bernard and Rabbi Potasnik, and if you ever want to have two people that will keep you in stitches every day, you need to sit next to these two. Pastor Bernard said to me when I walked in, he said, "I'm having so much fun watching you have fun and enjoying being here." And New York City is an interesting place. Someone stopped me and they said, "You have not fixed these potholes." I said, "My friend, today is January 2nd. And I know that New Yorkers want instant results. And I understand that. We have experienced so much pain. I remember being at the synagogue with Rabbi Bakdal and sharing with them the day I dropped Jordan off to school for the first time, going to American University, watching my son, who was no longer a child in the eyes of others, but he was still my baby. And I questioned the head of the school for about a half an hour and asked him over and over again about the safety of the school, the quality of the environment. And he placed his hands on my shoulders and he stated, "Eric, I just dropped my daughter off to school in Carolina." And he understood I was going through separation anxiety. That yes, it was 18 years, but 18 years I tucked him in and I watched him and I nurtured him and I poured into him all the values that I thought was important for him to transition from being a child to a young man. But I smiled and I said to myself, he gets it. He gets it. So I can't place my hand physically on your shoulders, but I want you to know I get it. I get it, you're watching bullets carve highways of death, and even when it hits the physical body of the person, it continues an emotional path that rips apart the anatomy of our city and our community. I get it that you dropped off your loved ones to hospitals during COVID, during this peak, never to see them again, even to be able to pray over them. I get it that you dropped your children off to schools hoping that they would receive quality education when year after year we have abandoned them and not given them the basic supplies that they need so they can be prosperous in a prosperous city. I get it that you're not able to keep the rent in the communities that you built. When people were waking up to alarm clocks, you were waking up to gunshots, and you did not flee. You stayed and hoped that one day when the communities turned around, you'll be acknowledged for what you have done and what you continue to do. I get it that you're afraid to wear your Star of David or your yarmulke because hate crime has increased so much. And I get it if you are an AAPI member of this city, that you fear the time that your loved ones are on the subway track, that someone doesn't push them over or someone does not strike them for any reason. And I get it that if you put on a hijab, you're demonized and treated unfairly. And if you wear a turban, people don't acknowledge what you did during the pandemic, feeding thousands of people in your temple. They only use their hateful rhetoric to try to prevent you from moving forward. I get it. I get it. I get it because I am of you. But here's what I need for us to do. It was a lesson that I told the gathering in Brooklyn some time ago. I want to share with you. Rushing out of my home one day, knocking over a glass of water, I picked up a sponge. And I wiped up the countertop. And then the sponge was saturated with water. In order to continue my journey, I had to do what? Had to wring it out. You are saturated with all of that pain and uncertainty that we've witnessed throughout these last few years. You, as faith-based leaders, must wring it out of us. You must allow us to be reabsorbed with the hope, the opportunity, and the prosperity that makes us who we are. We have to wring it out. We have to wring out anti-Semitism. We have to wring out the biases. We have to wring out COVID. We have to wring out crime. We have to wring out the uncertainty of being able to survive in our city. We have to wring out the jobs that we lost. We have to wring out Donald Trump. We have to wring it out. And then we need to find our ways into places of worship and allow them to help us re-indoctrinate ourselves with what we need and what our sponges should be full of. Because if we saturate ourselves with our commonalities and our differences, you would not have any more room in your sponge to absorb the hate that has permeated and saturated our city. What's in you is going to define who you are and how you deal with this journey. And we are so fortunate of being here in this city and this country. I say over and over again, there is no other country where dream is attached to its name. There's no German dream, there's no Polish dream, there's no French dream, but there's an American dream. This is the place where all dreams are possible. But far too many New Yorkers and Americans are living the nightmarish reality of not believing what this country has to offer and what it can produce. That's our moment right now. And let me be clear, I am perfectly imperfect. Letting you know from the start, there are days I'm going to get it right, there are days I'm going to get it wrong. There are days that the perfect people are going to judge me and tell me how to do it better. But I know and you know, they're not the mayor. The people of this city, they looked at the imperfection of being arrested at 15. They looked at the imperfection of being dyslexic. They looked at the imperfection of not always knowing the right things to say at the right moments in the right time. And they said, he is one of us. He is someone that has gone through a lot, and he's going to be there for the people who are going through a lot. One of their own has become the mayor of the city of New York. That's what this moment represents. That is what this moment is about. A city of imperfect people having an imperfect mayor moving towards a perfect solution that we all can live in this city together. And so here's our mission. Our mission is to don't succumb to the attractiveness of mobilizing around hate. Hate is an energizing force. Every march, every rally, everything we do, we say about the things that we dislike. How about mobilizing around love? How about finding our common ground and our common denominators that makes us exist? How about displacing all of the energy that we believe that we have to seek to be understood before we understand? Why not seek to understand before we're understood? Why not borrow from the great Helen Keller? The worst thing to be blind than being blind is to have sight and not vision. Why not see the vision of the possibilities of who we can become? Why not see the vision of what it is to be part of our communities in our neighborhood? Why not see the vision of talking to someone that does not look like us, talk like us, walk like us, eat the same food and do the same thing? Why not lean into the discomfort of the growth of learning something new? Why not be different than who we are so that we can become who we ought to be? That's this moment. It would be a Shakespearean tragedy to go these next few years and not evolve into what your real purpose is. Yes, it's painful. My mother told me as a child, baby, if you live long enough, you're going to find yourself in dark places. Those dark places can be burials or plantings. This is our moment of plantings. COVID is a dark place. Gun violence is a dark place. Homelessness is a dark place. Being a person with mental illnesses and not receiving the resources you deserve is a dark place. Let's take these dark places and not tell New Yorkers they are burials, but they're plantings. Let's show them the possibilities of what to do with our fruits of our harvest if we get it right here and we continue to allow people to feed on the possibilities, what we do with Cascade throughout this entire country. We are microcosms of the failure and abandonment of America. It is our moment. No one does it better than us. Draw on 2001, September 11th. Yes, we give honor to those we lost, but my reflection is not on that day. My reflection is on September 12th. We got up, teachers taught, retailers sold goods, cab drivers drove cabs, preachers preached. We showed America the resiliency of our city, and when we did it, the entire country looked towards New York City and saw the possibilities. COVID is not terrorism, but it brought terror. So once again, we are the epicenter of the virus, but we're also the epicenter of the hope. If we get up, America gets up. The way goes New York, goes America, and the way goes America goes the globe. This is our moment. This is our moment. And so I am the mayor of the greatest city on earth, but you are the pastors of the greatest cities on earth. You're the rabbis of the greatest cities on earth. You are the temple leaders of the greatest city on earth. You are the businessmen of the greatest city on earth. This is where greatness is born and thrives. Now I say today, at this faith-based breakfast, here's the question. Do we allow the question mark of uncertainty to determine where we go and who we become, or do we leave here and straighten that question mark into an exclamation point and say we are resilient because we are New Yorkers? That's what I believe in all my heart. And so I'm ready for this moment. And I'm going to tell you something. There's not one day that I woke up afraid. Not one day I felt unsure. With all of the challenges, all of the uncertainties, fear is not part of anything in my DNA. I'm so prepared for this moment. I want this moment so bad. Because I know people are hurting in ways that they never thought they were hurt before. And this is our time. This is your moment. This is what you went to rabbinical school. This is what you went to theological school. This is what you prayed for. You wanted this moment. God could have allowed you to be born at any other time. But he said, I need my best for the worst time. Let's meet the moment with what we prepared ourselves. There is no other time I know in history when you want to be a person of faith. But you cannot do it merely in the sterilized environment of your religious institutions. You have to go into the streets. Because the religious philosophers and the religious leaders and those who came before you, they did not stay within the confines of their four walls. We want to end gun violence. Let's go into the street and talk to those young men that are pulling the triggers. We want to end the homelessness crisis. Let's mobilize and go into the subway systems and nurture and pray for those who are looking for some way out. We want to deal with what's happening with children in homeless shelter. If you are in a homeless shelter, you're less likely to graduate from high school, and if you're not educated, you will be incarcerated. So let's go into those homeless shelters and spend some time there talking to those children, praying with the families, letting them know that you believe in them. Let's open up our food pantries and teach people how to eat a healthier lifestyle. Let's spend time in the libraries and deal with those who are dealing with learning disabilities and let them know it's an opportunity to do so. You can't be just a preacher. You can't be just a rabbi. You can't be just a cop. You can't be just a doctor. You got to go beyond that and give justice to people who are in need. This is the moment to go beyond who we are and move to the level of who we can become. Be fearless in this pursuit that we're on. Don't sit back and watch this moment pass us by. This is our time to rise up to what it really means, members of the greatest race alive, and that's the human race. God put us here for a purpose, and we should be ready for that. And yes, there would be criticisms. There'd be those who would critique us. But let's be clear. Lions don't lose sleep over the opinion of his sheep. Be the lion. Be the lion and the lioness. And so I thank you for coming here, for praying for me. Some of you will see me on the street and just place your hands on my shoulders and pray. You never gave up on me. Never turned your back. I look over the tables and I see your faces from years. You were with me with this entire journey. We swore in as the state senator, and after swearing in, I said, when I become mayor. We swore in as the borough president. When I swore in, I said, when I become mayor. I never doubted it for one moment. I say, don't only read, believe. God told me, Eric, you're going to be mayor. And no matter what people said, I knew the focus of where I had to go. And I say to you, hear him and believe him. Know the possibilities. Over 40 years ago, I walked on the stage to do a play as a child. And it was my role to say, cite a poem. I remember my knees buckling and shaking, sweating. My mother kissed me on my forehead, and she whispered in my ear. She said, baby, you got this. You got this. Mommy transitioned in April. I sat in that hospital room, hearing that heart monitor stop for the last time. And the two of us were alone because none of my siblings was able to get there in time. And I just heard her say, you got this. Yeah. And throughout this journey, these last 5 weeks, as I saw two beautiful young men died as police officers, as I stood inside the hospital room and watched a mother and her 11-month-old baby shot in the head, as I went to a fire and saw a large number of our citizens go through the traumatic experience of being displaced, as I watched the Cardinals and others respond to these crises, all I can hear out of all the noise, I could hear that mommy took me as far as she could take me spiritually, physically, And she's with this journey spiritually. When I walk on the stage, walk in the trains, or walk the streets, all I can hear, baby, you got this. You got this. And whatever it takes for you, whatever someone said or whispered to you or held your hand during a difficult time, I want you to dig into that and hold on to that. Because absence from the body is present in the spirit. This is a spiritual journey we're on right now. We've left a physical journey. This is a journey of spirituality. And many people, when I say it, they don't get it. But you do. I am not here because of my abilities. I'm here because of my spirituality. And this faith-based leadership that's present, we have an obligation to allow other New Yorkers tap into their spiritual abilities so they can reach their destiny. Thank you. Pray for me and pray for our city. Thank you.